Okay, here we have a question about a bag of beads in which there are 60 beads altogether. So 60 beads, and of those 60 beads, X of them are red. Sometimes it helps to think of numbers here. Let's say you had 60 beads and 3 of them were red, then the probability of a red would just be 3 out of 60. In this case, we're using a little bit of algebra, so the probability of getting a red is just the number of reds, which is X, divided by 60, the number of beads altogether. Now, the next bit, if we read it carefully, he puts his bead back in the bag. So the original bag is still 60, of which X are red. Another 20 red beads are added to those in the bag. So in other words, you've got a new bag, and in that bag, you've now got 80 beads altogether. The number of reds is now the original X plus an extra 20. So you've now got X plus 20, which are red. So the probability of getting a red out of this bag is the number of reds, X plus 20 over 80. And the probability of getting a red out of this bag was X out of 60. And the question says that the probability of taking a red bead is now doubled. So in other words, this number here, this probability, is twice this probability. So I can write that X plus 20 over 80 is the same as 2 times this, in other words, 2x over 60. Now, to make my life a little bit easier for myself, if I multiply both sides by 10, it's going to make life slightly easier. This side becomes x plus 20 over 8, and this side is the same as 2x over 6, which is perfectly fine. And what I'm going to do now is cross multiply. So in other words, 6 times x plus 20, these two multiplied together, will equal these two multiplied together. It's a very useful trick. So in other words, 6 times x plus 20 should equal 8 times 2x, in other words, 16x. Now, if I look at what I'm looking for here, this equation, if I now just divide both sides by 2, this becomes 3 brackets x plus 20, and this becomes 8x, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just going to write it the other way around though. 3 brackets x plus 20. And there's my equation. That's quite difficult, I think. We've now got to solve this equation, and you could have done this part too without actually being able to do the first part at all. If we now just remove the brackets here, you've got 8x is equal to 3x plus 60. In other words, 8x, if we now take away 3x from both sides, subtract 3x from each side, this side is now 5x. Subtracting 3x from this side, we're left with 60. And if 5x equals 60, just dividing both sides by 5, that means that x must be 12.